Well, y'all, I hope you're ready for it. A video that is full of just wonderment and merriment, and because the SCOTUS just literally put the Democrat dreams, hopes, future, everything right in a boiling pot of water and just scalded it to complete and total destruction. Guys, if you did not hear the testimony today, first of all, you're about to hear a lot of it. And second of all, you need to, because we are on the precipice of a paradigm shift in this country. So as you get in here and we have a little bit of fun together in this live stream, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on right over here, jump in, hit the chats, hit the emojis, because all of those things help send out our message of freedom to make the country even better than we found it. And that's something that you directly can do. So make sure you jump over there. We've got audio, we've got video. Let's dive in. I will not waste your time, and I always bring the receipts. All of this is linked in the description box below. Guys, let's just get it, because this is about to be a thing. Now, I'm going to play you a clip from the video I did earlier in the day. And this really sets everything up. This is a CNN clip, and it's a good one to start priming the pump as all of you get in here, because the leftist meltdown that I'm about to show you, along with Ketanji Brown Jackson literally saying that black people are disabled, so they need special privileges to vote. I mean, I'm not making that up. It's a quote from the SCOTUS today. Hang on for a second. We're going to move through that one. But this is an amazing primer. The left is freaking out. Let me zoom in, because this is generational strike right here. This guy is a far left Twitter, very vitriolic, very aggressive, but all of a sudden he's showing a little bit of fear. Let's walk through this. Terrifying, but everyone needs to see it. Democrats could lose 19 seats because of Republican gerrymandering. Oh, we're going to get to that in a second. California, Utah, and Maryland can't fight fire with fire alone. Other blue states need to step up, and we need every single Democrat to vote this time. Don't sit out any election for any reason. Okay, now what's he so worried about? And by the way, the whole gerrymandering thing, I've got that coming here in 1 second about gerrymandering. Yeah, we're going to get that in a minute. Let's just play this scene in clip so we can get you guys all up to speed as you're sending this out and you're hitting all the emojis and the chats. You know what? Take it away, CNN. Let's go.
So this is what the party pickups would be for congressional districts. Republicans, 5. Missouri, 1. North Carolina, 1. Ohio, 2 or 3. Indiana, 1 or 2. Florida, still discussion down there, but that could be another gold mine for them if they tipped it even further their way. Kansas, 1. New Hampshire, 1. And Nebraska. Democrats, Utah, California, Maryland. Look at this. If you offset California and Texas, Missouri and Utah, North Carolina and Maryland, everything left over is an would be a huge amount. But this is also a measure of how much the White House is concerned about this, because Donald Trump knows if the Democrats get the House again, there could be new investigations just like last time. There could be a new impeachment. There could be a lot of impediment to these plans.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I saw the sound cut in the middle of that. I love technology. But we're going to keep on going. I know the sound went out, but it will come back. Fear not. We will get it back, guys. But this is the entire point. As we go into this, 19 seats are what the SCOTUS is talking about. Again, sound back. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, that was like 10 seconds. Luckily, me as your host is watching like an eagle and a hawk for the production and being the talent behind front of the camera. I'm just saying. Just saying. All right, 19 seats. Now, let's talk into this a little bit more about why they're freaking out so insanely much. All right. Now, this is funny. I find this comical in a way. I'm going to walk you through this map right here, because this is what the SCOTUS was debating today. And remember how I just showed you that leftist account that said, the right is gerrymandering everything? Yeah, the Civil Rights Act, the Section 2 that they're talking about in the SCOTUS, which I'm about to show you some comical clips, it was intentionally meant to manipulate the electoral system because they wanted more advantage to minority populations. It intentionally done so. Now, that map on the left is the map that is magic because of putting your thumb on the scale, which is 24 seats, I believe, or 12 seats for Democrats. And then on the right would be actual representative of the population. Yeah. You tell me who's unconstitutional and not in step. Okay, let's keep on going because I've got to show you some stuff. I absolutely hit the wrong button. I got to show you some stuff. This is important. Guys, as you get in here, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Of course, for those newcomers, and I know the sound went out for about 10 seconds, I will remedy that. I will fire the app that was responsible for that. All right, listen. There's more. New York Times, Republicans plus 12 seats. Politico, Republicans plus 19 seats. Again, this is the entire point right here, guys. When I say, we got a conversation. When I say that we're going to change this country and we're going to save this country, these are the kind of things that I'm talking about. And I'm going to do a follow-up on this. But if you care about border security, if you care about pro-life, if you care about gun rights, if you care about all of these individual niche items inside the conservative movement, then you have to understand this is that fight. You fight broad and then you fight macro. You don't fight micro into the broad. You fight macro then into the micro. That's what's happening right now. So you've got this occurring at the Supreme Court. You have the redistricting of red states. Then you also have the SCOTUS coming in doing this little piece. And you have the entire generation shifting to the right. This is a nightmare scenario if you're on the left. Meanwhile, the left is being co-opted or the Democrats being co-opted by the left. Oh my God, people are interrupting my stream. Goodness, here we go. So you are talking about far left taking over the Democrats. Okay, they're split and disjointed and extreme and weak over here, and everyone else is moving on in the country without them while all the rules are changing in the favor of the Constitution. I don't know, guys. And that's even before in 2030 when the census pops and then it shows you all the electoral changes which are going from blue states to red states. Guys, when I say you're on the precipice of absolute destruction of the left, you are. We're going to keep on documenting the entire thing. Let's get it. If you're just now here, hit that like button, share this out. The only way you overcome the nefarious actions of YouTube is by doing just that. All right. So as you can see, Supreme Court from a minus 12 to a plus 12. That's obviously a big shift. But this is where we get into the really, really fun stuff. I've already shown you enough of that. Remember how I said in the introduction that Ketanji Brown Jackson said that black people were disabled, so they needed special privileges to voting? It's kind of like that soft bigotry of low expectations where African Americans or black people or minorities or whatever X group can't get a voting ID. Like they just can't get an ID to vote. I mean, it's like they don't have the capability, the capacity. Wow, that's I don't believe that, but glad to know that someone does. Now, here's the thing that Babylon Bee came out so poignantly before we get into her actual statements. Clarence Thomas gently explains to Ketanji Brown Jackson that not all black people are mentally disabled, just her. Now, the reason this is funny is because of this little clip right here. This is actually the sitting leftist liberal SCOTUS member, the junior justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, arguing in court, the Supreme Court of the United States, that black people should be able to be protected under Section 2 of the Civil Rights Act because they're disabled. Honest to God. All right, let's go. I'm going to get the volume up so you guys don't miss it. Send this out. Enjoy the chaos. Let's go.
I guess I'm thinking of
this is her.
Of the fact that remedial action, absent discriminatory intent, is really not a new idea in the civil rights laws. And my kind of paradigmatic example of this is something like the ADA. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act against the backdrop of a world that was generally not accessible to people with disabilities. And so it was discriminatory in effect because these folks were not able to access these buildings. And it didn't matter whether the person who built the building or the person who owned the building intended for them to be exclusionary. That's irrelevant. Congress said the facilities have to be made equally open to people with disabilities if readily possible. I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here. The idea in Section 2 is that we are responding to current day manifestations of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they don't have equal access to the voting system, right? They're disabled. In fact, we use the word disabled in Milligan. We say that's a way in which you...
Okay, honest to God, how does a sitting junior justice on the SCOTUS for the left get away with saying that you need to rig the electoral system for congressional representation for black people because they are disabled based on the fact that they're black people. That is so insulting. And this kind of filters into that same mindset I've been telling you guys. It's the bigotry of soft expectations. It's soft bigotry of low expectations. That's what it is. They literally just said at the SCOTUS, could you imagine if someone like me said that? Good God. Hellfire would rain down from on high. But nope, because the sitting Ketanji Brown Jackson SCOTUS member just said that. It's perfectly fine. We should definitely keep on rigging the system because obviously, what? That is now in SCOTUS record. That is on there forever. It happened. It happened. Turns out. You hate to see it. You do hate to see it. All right, so the next one we're going to go to, again, we've got even more stuff. Like, the left just got backhand after backhand after backhand today. So this is, if you are not familiar, the Assistant Attorney General of the United States. This is Harmeet Dillon. If you're in the gun world and one of my gun people, you know exactly who this is because she's one of the people running the Civil Rights Division, which is fighting for all the Second Amendment stuff. She's not Pam Bondi, and I know that's a sensitive subject right now, but that's who this is, okay? For all you newbies. This is a fighter from the gun world who's now gone civil rights mainstream. Okay, that's who this is. Now, listen to what she says about the SCOTUS today, okay? And let's get it going. Listen to this. This is about a 50-second clip.
Hi, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon and my Principal Deputy Jesus Assetti here on the steps of the United States Supreme Court, where we just got out of a 2.5-hour oral argument on the important Voting Rights Act case, Louisiana versus Calais, and there was a companion case as well. We were on the United States' amicus brief, which was extremely ably argued by our Solicitor General colleague, Hash Mupin, who I think had the court really animated. They were looking at specific pages of our brief and asking questions about formulating a test to, sort of navigate competing strains of Voting Rights Act Section 2 jurisprudence. It was really fascinating and a tremendous honor to be there and see top-notch advocacy coming out of the court.
All right. So that's the Assistant Attorney General who was there actively as the head of the Civil Rights Division. And I can see Shane saying that the AG is in support of the NFA. He is talking about the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. He is not talking about this woman, AAG. This is the Assistant Attorney General, different person. Different conversation, different person. But she was there, they were there, and some of the arguments that I'm about to show you guys as we dive in, this is one of the most beautiful parts about coming from the gun world and living in the gun space, the two-way advocacy space. We are so used to hearing all of these individual arguments and styles from the SCOTUS because, honestly, the two-way community is the one that gets the short end of the stick. We get hit a lot. So this right here is glorious. This is an exchange between basically the DOJ, who's arguing we need to get rid of this whole cheating system, effectively, basically rigging system, and then the SCOTUS member, which one is it? This is Sotomayor, okay? So you just heard Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now you're going to hear Sotomayor, okay? Liberal, lefty. Listen to what she says and how she walks right into this, and he backhands the crap out of her with her own words. Guys, we are winning. If you're in here just now for the first seconds, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. It only becomes more powerful by chats, emojis, liking, sharing, doing all those things. Let's get it. This one is gold.
A reason to think that a racial group is being treated
here too. You have proof of that here.
No, you don't. What you have here is that Republicans and Democrats are different. There's no
You have some that even white Republicans or white Democrats won't vote for black candidates.
right, but if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they would have a second district. None. And so what is happening here is their argument is because these Democrats happen to be black, they get a second district. If they were all white, we all agree they wouldn't get a second district. That is literally the definition of race subordinating traditional principles.
Oh my God. Okay, listen, guys, one of the things, we got to go big for this, okay? One of the things that we focus on this channel, when I tie all these things together, again, it's taking the individual issues and then taking two issues and weaving them together, okay? We can't do this siloed approach of our own little special magic issue anymore. We have to tie them all together for an overall conservative Republican approach, okay? So what you're actively hearing right now is The SCOTUS member going, well, what about white, black, race? The guy literally says, they wouldn't have a second district in this area of Louisiana if it was not created specifically for a racial component. And she shuts up real quick. It's just like if you were in the gun world and you were to say that you can only have gun control in these certain individual areas based off of race. Can't do that. You can only vote based off of race. Can't do that. You can only vote if you can pay a poll tax. You can only vote if you can pass an intelligence and literacy test. All those things are not acceptable. You cannot tax a right. Okay? Same kind of concept. This is so bad because the existing system since the 60s and 70s has been padding the numbers for the Democrats based off of race. That's the entire point. And SCOTUS just got their butts handed to them on the left anyway. The right was like, yeah, this got a good point. This guy should just keep talking. All right, let's keep on going, guys. If I'm landing this plane, let me see those planes in the chat right over there. And I've got one more thing for you, because what would my show be if I did not show you MSDNC losing their collective minds? This is the cherry on top, and I hope you enjoy every second of it. Let's freaking go. God, I cannot wait for the fallout stuff I'm going to do on this.
In front of the Supreme Court today, and where it appears the justices were likely to fall.
So lawyers argued that Louisiana violated the Constitution when it drew a second majority black district in order to comply with the Voting Rights Act. For decades, the Supreme Court has interpreted the Voting Rights Act to require these opportunity districts that have large black and brown populations so that these communities can elect the representatives of their choice. But today, lawyers argued that that is unconstitutional, that taking race into account to draw districts, even if it is designed to boost representation for minorities, even if it is designed to remedy past discrimination against minorities, that violates the Equal Protection Clause by considering race, and that the Constitution must be colorblind. And it's
all right. So listen, and this is a key point to this, guys. Again, with everything, okay, everything from a immigration, from a pro-life, pro-choice, from a gun rights perspective, all of these things from a voting perspective. The Constitution must be colorblind. The people who are telling us for 30 and 40 years that everything must be completely and totally colorblind are now saying that it can be colorblind because we need these special seats. You understand? That's what's happening. The Democrats are saying, no, you can't get rid of this because we need these special seats. Granted, it's because of race, but you can't do things because of race. And if you do things because of race, you're a very bad person. However, when it comes to the voting districts, we need that because obviously we need that. The Equal Protection Clause is going to backhand the ever-living crap out of this. That's why you're seeing the left lose their minds. That's why you're seeing the leftist accounts say it's an all four-alarm fire, because they understand that they've been working under a padded system, particularly in the South, which is heavily Republican districts, districts and states, and they're now going to shift because the states can redraw them to actually reflect the population and give them representation, not make up representation magically. That's the entire point. It's the whole backfiring element. But let's keep going. MSNBC's got more freaking out to do. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't here for it.
Sounded like a majority of the justices are leaning toward embracing some form of that argument, which would essentially dismantle the Voting Rights Act as we know it today.
How do you know that that's the way that they were leaning?
All 6 of the Republican-appointed justices indicated that they think that the Voting Rights Act has essentially outlived its usefulness. Justice Brett Kavanaugh continually said that there has to be a time limit on any race-conscious law and suggested that the expiration date for the VRA has arrived. Justice Barrett suggested that Congress went beyond what the Constitution requires in prohibiting these kind of racially skewed maps, and that it couldn't be squared with the Equal Protection Clause. Justice Thomas, Justice Alito, Justice Gorsuch, all indicated that protecting Black communities by drawing race-conscious maps that give them more representation is actually racial discrimination, that it is unconstitutional because of the mere consideration of race. And so the law...
Uh-oh! Hold on a second. Who's defending that? Yeah, well, we all know. We all know. You know, we know. I know. But now let me explain something to you from a standpoint for my newbies from the gun world. You have to understand why this is important in the SCOTUS makeup. Because everybody will tell you in the chat right now, my veterans who have been with me for 3-4 years in the gun space exclusively, would tell you that the squishy people on SCOTUS are the following people: Kavanaugh, ACB, and Roberts. If you've got Kavanaugh, ACB, and Roberts coming out and going, you can't use race to draw districts because it's very, by definition, racially discriminatory against the other people, it's quite obvious how this is going to land. And again, in the 2A space, we get beat all the time, right in the face, all the time. But it gives us this experience and we're hardened. And I can tell you, when you look at ACB and you look at Thomas, or not Thomas, he's a lock, ACB, Kavanaugh, and Roberts, that's a big one. Okay, because that puts it 6-3. All right, let's continue. Let's let him wrap it out. We got so much to do, guys. The fallout on this is going to be glorious. All right, let's go.
Again, as we know, it must fall. Now, I don't know exactly how the justices will decide to dismantle the law.
So
they
key.
could interpret it differently. They could strike it down. But all 6 of them seem to be leaning towards some kind of result that would radically weaken, if not altogether demolish, what we know of the Voting Rights Act today.
So if this does happen, if it is overturned, if your assessment of where they're leaning is correct, let us show what could be impacted. This is a few maps showing VRA protected congressional districts that could be affected. There's one in Louisiana, there is another in Alabama, and there is another in Texas. And those are the number of specific districts that could change. You see Florida in there as well, and a few other states.
All right, so now we get to have the really amazing behind-the-scenes observation. We're going to go big for this one. I want you to pay specific attention to what that guy just said in the last little segment there. Because the way that these people work on the left, they don't say things and they don't lay the groundwork for what could potentially be the outcome unless they know they're going to get smoked. Okay? So, for example, he said, now that I've told you that all the conservative justices are going towards pretty much smoking this from orbit, let's just skip past that part of the argument. Let's go straight into well, what does this mean and how are they going to rule? They're focusing on how they're going to get beat in the head versus are they going to get beat in the head. It's not an R, it's a win, right? So when they get beat in the head, is it going to be a complete and total strike down? Is it going to be a medium strike down? Is the writing and the language and the verbiage going to be a gentle hit, or am I going to get nuked from orbit? When you look at what they just focused on in that segment, it goes from if it's going to happen to how bad is it going to be when it happens. That is incredibly important. Again, they do the exact same thing in the 2A space and the gun space. They always do this every single time. They are the exact same animal. It is a hive mind. They do it interrelationally to all the different pivot points in our culture, all the flashpoints. But guys, honest to God, this is about to be a thing. And I can't wait to see the fallout tomorrow. Oh, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. I hope each and every one of you enjoyed it. I hope each and every one of you loves the country, because I know you do. And you guys are inspired and have hope for the country in the future. I love each and every one of you just the right amount, and I will see you on the next one.